All right, it's 7 o'clock, and we'll call the meeting to order at this time. I want to welcome all board members and also the public that's come this evening. Appreciate you being here. As is our custom, we open in prayer. And tonight, it's me. So, offer the prayer for guidance. Welcome. All right. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for this meeting. We thank you for the items that we get to address tonight in open forum and in a manner, Lord, that is civil. And God, we're just grateful for the freedoms that we have to debate and decide things and to consider the needs of our residents. Pray that you give us clarity and wisdom. Thank you for those that every day for the township must decide and lead and make decisions. We pray that you help them and protect them, continue to do good, Lord, through them, and that we give you the honor and glory. In Jesus' name, amen. We would rise now for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. I'll look to the clerk here for the roll.
Everyone's present.
All right. Present and accounted for. Item 5 on our agenda this evening is approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Support.
It is supported. Okay. Any comments or changes or additions?
Yes, I would like to amend the agenda that we would remove item number 17, the Rosewood Speed Study. Since we visited this in Utilities Committee, there has been a fair amount of activity behind the scenes with Ottawa County, Senator Victory, Representative Slog, and we think at this time the road study should be put on the table until we get some of this other stuff figured out.
Support. Okay, it's been moved and supported to amend the agenda to remove item 17. Any further comment on the motion that's before you? That is to amend. Okay, hearing nothing further, all in favor of the motion to amend, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, item 17 is removed now I'm going to call for a vote on the agenda as revised. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. It's passed for this evening. Item 6, communication letters and reports received for information by each board member. Item 7 is a public comment period for action items on tonight's agenda. So one of those action items just went away, but there are a number of others that if anyone has come tonight to speak to those items, you have the opportunity to do so now. You've got 3 minutes to address the board. If you say, I'm not sure what's on the agenda, quick whip out your phone, or so you can see that screen as small as it is. We always keep our agendas online. And if you see something there that you want to speak to, you're welcome to do so now. If you don't, or you see something later and think, I wanted to add my 2 cents, there will be another public comment period toward the end of the meeting. All right? So, any takers at this first public comment period? All right. Seeing none, we'll close that initial public comment period. Like I say, there will be another. Item 8 is our consent agenda, as we call it. Motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
So moved.
For it. All right. Everyone's moved for it and everyone supported it. I feel like I don't have to take a vote. But, all right. Any comments? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Aye. Okay. Is there an item you want to speak to, or? Nope. Okay. Item 9. Sheriff Kempker is going to come at this time, and there's some deputies that we wish to recognize this evening. Welcome.
For an incident that happened in your township back on September 27 of 2023 at approximately 6:30 p.m. in the evening. 3 of our deputies from the township area here were involved: Deputy Tottingham, Deputy Melkowitz, and Deputy Heaton. The nature of the call is what we call a medical, and we call it a Med 1 echo, which is the highest priority call, and it came in as a cardiac event. And this cardiac event involved a 17, 18-year-old individual from the township here, Jacob Chatham. And Mr. Chapman is here this evening with us, seated in the front row with his family, his dad, mother, and his brother. This is what it's about, folks. It's important for us to provide you and the citizens of Ottawa County with good quality and professional law enforcement services, and for these deputies to go into these situations, especially when it involves a young adult or anybody in a medical situation, and to save a life. Trust me, it can be a highlight of your career, but I also know that it's the highlight for this family seated behind me. So when our deputies arrived on the scene, Jacob was in what we call a Class 1 state. As you know, thanks to the citizens of this county and to this township, all of our units are equipped with an AED. Our deputies do receive training. The deputies immediately recognized that Jacob had agonal breathing, was not conscious, and had no pulse. Immediately, prior to them arriving, to the credit of his father, Chad, started immediate CPR. And talking with Deputy Heaton, our paramedic that was on scene, the doctors credit that if that CPR would not have been started immediately by his father, and then the follow-up care by the deputies that arrived shortly thereafter, the outcome would have been totally different. So when that AED was administered, 2 shocks were given. They were successful, and through the CPR efforts, and then also with the efforts, I want to thank the fire chief for your staff that was there helping. Jacob was transported into Helen DeVos Children's Hospital. During that ride in the ambulance, again as a priority call, Deputy Heaton went in with the paramedics in the ambulance and continued to provide advanced medical life support in the ambulance to Jacob. So with the Sheriff's Office, we have an award system at our office, and the 3 deputies involved were nominated by your Georgetown Sergeant Michael Tamiga for commendation for a life-saving award and for their life-saving efforts. So I would like to present those, and I felt it was important to come here in front of the Township Board and present these. So again, you can see the good work of both citizens in our community. And again, I credit the staff of the Ottawa County Sheriff's Office. The staff there is what makes the Sheriff's Office, and we take pride in what we do. We will continue to deliver quality and professional and ethical law enforcement services to this community. So I've asked Jacob to come up with me tonight to actually present the awards. And if I could ask Deputy Tottingham, Deputy Malkowitz, and Deputy Heaton to also come up, please. Behind this tall guy here. Cameron, let's start with you here. So the 3 life-saving awards, again, these awards are submitted to a committee at the Sheriff's Office. They're reviewed by that committee, and then I take the recommendation along with Under Sheriff Valerie Weiss, who is here this evening in the back, and take the recommendations. And again, I accepted very quickly this recommendation for the life-saving awards for the deputies. So it reads on their certificates for the life-saving action that you took on September 27, 2023 in the Township of Georgetown, County of Ottawa, State of Michigan. You responded to a medical incident of a cardiac arrest involving Mr. Jacob Chapman. Upon arriving at the residence, you found that Jacob did not have a pulse and was not breathing. Again, the deputies immediately started the CPR using the AED, delivering the shocks and continuing CPR until a pulse was regained. Your actions resulted in the life-saving of Jacob. Would you present that again? again, with that, in closing, Jacob, it's great to have you here. I know just briefly meeting your family, I can sense already that this probably has brought family much closer, and we look at life a lot differently. But again, I wish you the success in the future. Apparently, he's already back to basketball and on the court, and continue to do the best. And again, I think everybody in this room, sometimes we get a loss of words because I think sometimes we get emotional over these situations. But we're just glad that you're here for your family. And again, we wish you the best in a very successful career ahead of you in life, whatever way you decide to go. So, and just a small token of our appreciation.
Could all of you pose for a moment and have Becky and Justin take a photograph for our newsletter and our website? Maybe with Mom and Dad, all of you up there.
I think that you guys should stand like right in here. And then Dad, I think you should, you can close my computer maybe. And switch over.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah, you can hold your frame very close.
All right, now me.
Maybe one more here, guys. Okay.
Sheriff Pemper, will you get in one too?
You're gonna get one more.
Okay. I mean, congratulations on surviving all of this. You're amazing. Congratulations to you guys.
Again, Mr. Supervisor, Mr. Manager, and the rest of the board, thank you for your time tonight, for allowing us to come in for a few minutes and start your meeting off on a good note. And again, we thank the township residents for the support of the Ottawa County Sheriff's Office, and mostly from me, the support of the staff. Because again, like I always say, what makes the Ottawa County Sheriff's Office is our staff that we have, and anything we can do, we'll be there for you. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. And to you officers or deputies that are here too, we just appreciate all that you do for the township. And I know you cover more than just our township, you cover the county, and that's much appreciated. Sometimes we see only the expense or the line item, or we're buying an AED and we're saying, wow, those cost a lot, right? Well, this is the byproduct, right? This is the end product of those decisions made, and they're necessary. You're necessary certainly as people, and then the tools to give you to do the job that you do. We greatly appreciate it, so thank you so much. I think our theme tonight is safety. We had this matter. We've not only had a human life saved, we've had a dog's life saved, if you saw that. Talking about several residents here tonight thinking about safety for their children and speeds on their street. We've got a couple of traffic light matters coming up, so it's very much and even repaving of roads, you might argue, is safety oriented. So it's definitely a safety theme. All right, we're going to move on to item 10. Item 10 is a public hearing for the Township Board to hear public comments and to make a determination as to whether to adopt the 2024 Parks and Recreation Plan update for Georgetown Township. As the board well knows, and those that are watching this evening, I believe it's every 5 years that we'll adopt an updated Parks and Recreation Plan. We have had it come before us once, and we'll be commenting on it tonight, but this is your opportunity as a member of the public. If you wish to address the Parks Plan, or if you say, well, I haven't read it, but I'd like to make a comment about Parks, you'd be welcome to do so after we open the public hearing. So is there a motion to go into a public hearing?
So moved.
Support.
Okay, I believe this is a roll call vote, or only coming, bear with me here.
Yes, it is.
Okay, would you call the roll, please?
Yep. Mr. Grafflin?
Yes.
Mr. Velding?
Yes.
Treasurer?
Yes.
Supervisor?
Yes.
Clerk is yes. Mrs. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Schwam?
Yes. All right, so the public hearing is now open. Is there anyone here tonight who wishes to speak to the plan as presented, or just your thoughts on the parks here in Georgetown. You're welcome. All right. Seeing none. Okay, great. Welcome, sir. Just identify your name and maybe if you're a resident here, what street?
Yeah, I'm Josh Driscoll. I'm actually from the Hamilton area, but very involved with disc golf courses and improvements and working on one in Holland right now. Been interested in what you've got going on out at Rush Creek. So just wanted to speak to that a little bit. Been working with the Parks Department back and forth, conversating on that. It sounds like there's some plans in place to expand that. It's a little bit unclear what the full scope of that project is. I'm not sure if anybody has that clearly defined. So that's kind of an interesting concept in and of itself. But then it was a bit disappointing to me to read through the 5-year plan and not see anything related to disc golf. It's been dethroned as the fastest growing sport in the country, but only by pickleball and only this past year. So something for you guys to keep in mind. I understood that not everything you guys do has to be part of the plan, but it sure helps when you're getting things moving and keeping things moving forward on projects if it is part of that plan. And I guess the other piece of background I'll share is I'm actually on the Parks Advisory Board for Allegan County, so I've got a little bit of experience related to some of that stuff too. So that's all I wanted to share. Just wanted to put a plug in there for the disc golf community in the area that we value support in our sport. So
thank you. Thank you.
Josh?
We didn't want to interrupt your time, but if anyone wishes during our discussion, they can address. It doesn't have to be at this moment. I'm saying when we close public hearing, we'll speak to that. Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Now, seeing no one else, is there a motion then to close the public hearing? So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Another quick roll call vote to come out of, or to close the public hearing.
Okay. Ms. Schwalm?
Yes.
Ms. Steele?
Yes.
Clerk is yes. Supervisor?
Yes.
Treasurer?
Yes.
Mr. Dowling?
Yes.
Ms. Graffin?
Yes.
All right. Now, shifting then, is there a motion to adopt the 5-year recreation plan that's been presented out of Services Committee?
So moved.
Support.
It moved and supported. Now would be a good opportunity for any board member who wishes to speak to the plan, as well as perhaps if anyone wishes to address the comment made tonight about disc golf.
I think that they did a great job with everything in the plan here. And I believe we do have some disc golf baskets and that we're looking at Rush Creek Park, right?
9 to in equipment and room for 18.
Room for 18.
Or to get that, yeah.
So that's kind of in there too. I thought they did a great job, and they mentioned pickleball 16 times in that report.
I'm a little disappointed there's no shooting range at all at any of the parks, because that's one of the things I like to do. There's also no hunting allowed in any of the parks, which I like to do. So I just thought I'd point that out. Those things are absent from the Parks Department, so I'm just curious.
And I'm going to do my plug for municipal.
Just want to throw it out there.
Duly noted.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. It's your
I don't
chance.
see the municipal golf course in there either. So.
Sporting clays.
Having this report allows us to apply for grants so that we can maybe work
That
on
is an
some of
important
those
part of it,
problems.
isn't it? What about, we all have maybe our things. I was looking in there, and you'll have to reiterate to me, I think those are on services, why the specific mention doesn't foreclose the possibility, right? So I was really hopeful of seeing, although I saw something in there about outdoor music, I was hopeful of something more specific in the way of, say, possibility of a band shell. And then increasing the number of trails, I think that was in there. That was a mention that was made in there that I think is important to our residents. And then the last thing, although I saw pickleball mentioned, I didn't see in the projected plans for Maplewood, I was hoping to see something that would address the potential whether that would be to convert a tennis court out of the two that are there or what. But again, tell me, just because it's not mentioned does not mean that it's foreclosed, right?
Correct.
That's true.
Yes.
Okay. Did it mean,
This helps us to apply for grants that could be there to help us with that.
does the lack of mention show the level of interest or not? I mean, in other words, did you choose the things you felt like, hey, the survey is saying that we ought to emphasize these things more than others?
No, they did the survey.
Yeah.
We didn't have anything to do with what this is what they came back with.
Fair enough, but,
So,
yeah.
no, because I agree with you about, Maplewood and the 2 tennis courts and having one be tennis and the other be 2 pickleball.
Okay, So I will kind of like Gary. I don't see maybe exactly mention of what I might like, but it's not a no. It's just not mentioned. Okay.
But it can be brought up in a meeting.
Yeah.
It's a start.
It's a step that sets the stage for future projects, which is, in some way provides independent insight and guidance as far as sorry, this is so loud today, but what sorts of projects, might be appropriate, but this makes it so that we can apply for grants, but doesn't certainly close the door on anything that this board or a future one wanted to do.
And when we say we can apply for grants, and this may just be, going on and I'm not aware of it, but it seems more visual and more public some years ago that we were applying for and receiving grants. Are we actively, or is this sort of a renewed effort to go, look, we're going to re-energize our efforts to get funding, and we need this as a help to that? In other words, have we been trying and failing, or have we not been necessarily trying?
I wouldn't say failing, but Justin has an incredibly strong background in this and looked it over and said, without this step, we can't move on. And so this is the first step going towards that.
So that we can utilize his expertise and help move in that direction.
So then my statement would be, my hope would be that we would become as active as is appropriate, right? To try to pursue funds. My sense is, I don't know about the rest of you, but there's just money sloshing around the system out there right now. And much as I don't like it, much as I think the federal government, if not the state government, has just dumped money into different buckets, and they're just, in some cases, sitting there, in other cases, going other directions. Once allocated, already allocated, going to be spent, I think as we all would, I'm not speaking that sure alone, but I'd like to see us get some of that, right?
Yeah.
Can. Other comments?
If I could just mention, if Jeff back there, before you leave, if you'd share with probably Justin over there your phone number and email, that we could keep contact as things move ahead. Josh, I'm sorry. Are you, as you look at Rush Creek, we put that in I think about 10 years ago. Is it in disarray? Did we have to buy all new equipment? I guess I'm not sure.
No, I mean, I think it's potentially needs to be not for any areas, but I think that my understanding is a good chance to expand it. The primary investment remains the standard of clear signage and test playground. Those are the 2 things that most users would look at and go, this is a really nice
So if we look at this with the service committee, would you be willing to come some evening and kind of share some things with us? Okay. Thank you.
Board members? Okay. Well then, we've got a motion and seconded. Go ahead.
Who did the motion? Who did the second?
Gary motion. Okay. This is also a roll call vote.
Mrs. Grafton?
Yes.
Mr. Velding?
Yes.
Treasurer?
Yes.
Supervisor?
Yes.
Clerk is a yes. Mrs. Steele?
Yes.
Ms. Schwam?
Yes.
All right, and it's passed. Thank you, Services, for your work on this. Item 12, Ottawa County Road Commission Road Millage Renewal Resolution. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So move.
Support.
Okay, moved and supported. Comments? I know this came out of utilities. I also know I spoke to Rob about this, and I think there was a feeling among utilities that there was another version of this resolution that you might prefer over the one that was presented with our agenda. Do I have that right?
Yes. So the way it was presented to the Utilities Committee by Brett Laughlin from Ottawa County Road Commission was that he's looking for us to support a millage. The township would support a millage ballot in May, but we really didn't support the language of the millage. We just were willing to support putting a millage to Ottawa County. That was the way my understanding was. Yeah, I don't remember supporting the language of the ballot, except with the way that he left it with the resolution, which actually had a different name on it, it was Allendale Township at the time, but that temporarily left us as approving the language on the ballot. That's not really what was really should not have been the intent of our proposal.
Support, Gary.
Yeah, that we were just going to support. That we would support a millage on the ballot, but not the language of it, because I don't know what they're going to do.
Resolution, there was an additional paragraph at the end that I removed, and that last paragraph is supporting putting it on the ballot and stopping there.
In other words, leave it to the voters.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
And
yes.
this way, yeah.
yes.
Mhm.
So just a little background for the rest of the board. This millage was passed previously as half a mill. Originally they were going to come with one mill 10 years ago, and they went back to a half a mill because some townships already had millages for roads, and they felt it was going to be too much. So they're going to come with another half a mill. Also, the millage is going to be distributed to the townships according to what they put into the millage. So let's say Georgetown raises 18 million through the millages of our taxes, that 18 million would stay in our township to fix roads and bridges and whatnot. So the money stays proportionately to the money raised in that township. So, and just as an example, that's how they did, so we take care of residential roads in our budget. The county takes care of arterial roads. So they would do like 20th Avenue, Baldwin, they did Bauer, 28th Avenue. This coming summer, they're going to be doing 14th Avenue from Port Sheldon to the south to Van Buren, and adding an extra bike lane on the side, and that comes out of this millage. And we take care of residential roads, which is where our homes are all on. So there's a little history on how it all works.
Okay.
Good. Comments, questions, concerns, any more?
Roll call, my apologies.
Okay.
That's what I was just gonna say. Roll call on here.
And the roll call is to approve this one on the screen, not necessarily the one that's in our packet on page 174.
Correct.
Yes.
All right, the clerk call the roll.
All right, Mr. Schwam.
Yes.
Mrs. Steele.
Yes.
Clerk is a yes. Supervisor.
Yes.
Treasurer.
Yes.
Mr. Belding.
Yes.
Mrs. Grassman.
Yes.
There you go.
All right, it passes. Thank you. Item 13, Georgetown Township proposed secondary and subdivision resurfacing 2024, something Gary just referred to in terms of what has become routinely township responsibility, where the Ottawa County funds we receive from the Road Commission are not sufficient to keep up with the roads within the township. So everyone's yes, but go ahead, yes. So is there a motion to approve this?
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. All right. The floor is open. an aggressive attack on the roads. I think of all poorly rated roads, it's about 3 fire trucks if my math is right. It's a pretty big expenditure. And it's a big deal. It's a lot. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So thoughts about that? Comments?
Hope was to go with the entire list that was provided, knowing that if we get in there fairly early, it's generally less than this. And instead of having to go back and then get additional items or additional roads added, just go with what we have here. And we do have some ARPA funds that were applied.
Current plan is to apply about 1.5 million of ARPA funds, and when the bids come back, you could make another change. If the bids to reduce the dollar amount, or if they come in low, to go with that number of roads. So.
And the ARPA funds had to be allocated by a certain time anyways, so might as well put it something that we're already doing.
Do you have the sense, those of you on utility studying the roads, do you have the sense that if you attack all the poor roads all at once, like this, which in the past we've had to kind of pick and choose, right? Does that put us in a place where in the years to follow, at least the immediate years to follow, you wouldn't expect there to be an impossible poor list? In other words, we can't repeat a $5 million figure, especially with ARPA funds no longer going to be there. Do you suspect that what we would allocate, call it $3 million or something next year, would be sufficient because of this catch-up, so to speak, to cover what would be the list next year?
I believe we're getting to the end of our poor roads. I've been keeping track of the list where we go, and I think we're in a good shape. One nice thing in the last couple of years is we have tried to do sections, so that, like as an example, we're doing Hidden Lakes this year. We'll do that whole area. It'll be completed. So then maybe when they're bad, 7 or 8 years from now, you do the whole section again. Whereas before we were doing a piecemeal. We were doing a road over here that was poor, and a road over here we're moving equipment. It was very expensive. The county even admits that the way we got doing it right now, we're getting a lot more bang for our buck. So, but this year we're seeing a big increase just in tar and labor. Last year was a big year. That was the best bang for the buck we ever had. I think we did almost 14 miles for $3.5 million or something like that, but everything's gone up. So. But I do think we're getting to the end here, and I think we're going to get caught up here pretty quick. We went to that kind of budget again. So,
primary goal when we first came in here 4 years ago, actually 3 years ago, was to catch up on a lot of the infrastructure stuff, including roads. Prior to this, we spent at most $1.5 million. And we had I think we had 1 year that was below $1 million in what we spent for doing roads. So that's why it's been a huge focus that we've put $3 million plus every year since we've been here. And then this is the biggest one we've had. So in talking to the county back then, they were saying if we were able to just commit to getting them back to the status quo, get them better, then we'd be good to go. We'll be caught up. So I think this pretty much does that. It allows us to be caught up. And
can you speak to this won't escape this oversight, if you will, or the notice of Ottawa County Road Commission when they see an aggressive move like we're talking about doing here? Do they potentially curtail some of what they would have spent with us, or are they sufficiently committed? And as you described a moment ago, if it's allocated in the way you're describing, Gary, they wouldn't be able to change or wouldn't choose to change our allocation because we're doing more.
I don't know. It seems like when I look back the past 2 years, the county's actually done more roads in the Georgetown because they know that we're in here doing roads and they're moving equipment and they're piggybacking. Because you look at they did Bauer, they did 36th, they did 20th, they're doing 24th. It's almost like, hey, we got equipment coming in. That's why I've always pushed to get our bids in early, so the tar companies can bid our roads with the county roads, and they can kind of help give a break for everybody because they move their equipment into this area and they do the county roads, they do our roads. I got to think there's some efficiencies in that. So, I mean, I think the last few years, roads in Georgetown have really come a long way with the county and with us.
That's great. Yeah.
Saving the residents, having their wheel alignments.
Good.
Jim, when Brett sat with our utilities committee, we asked him about, will we get the short end of the stick later on by how we're allocating these funds? And he came across very, very strong that they're solid stewards of the monies that they're spending, and that I think this is the way for us to get the biggest bang for our buck, especially with the ARPA funds. So this should catch us up. So I agree with both Ryan and Gary.
Okay. That there's a fair allocation and look upon us by Ottawa County Road Commission.
I pressed him on whether or not we should support this millage.
Yeah.
And should we be capturing those monies?
Yeah.
And he was very, very convincing that it is best to have those funds run through them, and that they're going to be very, very careful with how they spend our monies, and we're not going to be taken advantage of. We kind of pushed him. But he was incredibly impressive, very impressive. And we had the group that was here concerning their speeds, and he was articulate and did a beautiful job with them. And I think took care of a lot of these problems that concerning the speed down there in Rosewood. Because of his presence that evening, we were able to get an awful lot done and get our representatives involved.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're okay. I think it's an honest question, but I think we're okay.
Other comments, questions?
Most people know that the road commission gets absolutely no tax dollars. Their money comes from gasoline taxes. That's it. It does not come from our property taxes. They run their own deal. So,
good reminder. Well, all right. The motion is before you. Let me just back up here. And by the way, appreciate your work in utilities. You guys have been quite busy of late. All right. So, I don't think this is a roll call. So, all in favor, say aye.
aye.
Anyone opposed? It has passed. Item 14, this is the so-called lilac drain, also referred to as, I think by Joe Bush as what they call an orphan drain. Their motion to adopt and create a new drainage district to be called the lilac drain.
So move.
Support.
Okay, is that lilac or
Lilac.
lilac? Can I say that? All right. Okay, discussion, questions.
So I'll give you some history on this one too.
Sure.
Back when they put a lot of the plats in, especially Lamplight Estates behind us here, developers put in different drains and different leach basins and different things to get rid of water. But back then they didn't put any easements in there so that they could be taken care of. And so now we have some issues over on Lilac where the water is not draining the way it should. And of course nobody wants to take responsibility. So Joe Bush from Water Resources, Ottawa County Water Resources, said that if we would just turn these drains over to them guys, they would try to figure out a way to keep them clean and to take over them, take control of them. And so we looked at it and said, have at it, because there's a lot of things going on there, as you can see the red on the map. And so they're going to camera all these drains to see which ones are good, which ones are bad, figure out where the water may be going, where it should be going, and they're going to take it over. But they need our approval to be able to do that.
There shouldn't be added cost for us. If there is, it's going to be minimal. And he's taken on a headache.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I've been involved in these on a client side, and Joe gets in the middle of all of them if they're in Ottawa County, and they're usually almost always a good thing for those who live in that area. Well, all right. Hearing no further comments, this is a resolution would also require a roll call vote.
Mr. Schwab.
Yes.
Mrs. Steele.
Yes.
Clerk is yes. Supervisor.
Yes.
Treasurer.
Yes?
Mr. Belding.
Yes.
Mrs. Grassman.
Yes.
Thank you. It is passed. Item number 15, again, continue with our safety theme here. Is there someone who wishes to make a motion to have the Ottawa County Road Commission install a light at 40th and Baldwin?
So moved.
Support.
Supported. Floor before you. I know this is one of those things that if you've served on the board a while, or even as long as any of us have, that we've heard from members of the public on a routine basis about where they'd like to see lights and crosswalks and things of that nature. And sometimes we feel like our hands are tied because we can recommend it, we can agree with it, but ultimately we can't decide it absent the county and the road commission being in agreement. So this is one where it seems to have reached the point where we can actually make a move. Any thoughts about it? Any questions? This is not a blinking red, this is a red-green, so.
It's incredibly dangerous down there. And,
School.
yeah, my grandson goes there, and I asked him about it, and he said a lot of his buddies just set out across the road
Yep.
and make a run for it. So the people that spoke about this were, again, very passionate. And the alternative is walking way down, and most kids are just going to cut across that street.
Yes.
It's like one of those corners you knew years ago that one day it would have one, kind of like 36th, and that day seems to have come.
I will tell you that I did tell Don Vanderjack that I would support this if that trail went all the way to Fall Road.
Thank you. And?
He did.
He said we'll talk. So
Sounds like he's open to it.
yeah, he said he was on board with it. So just to let you know, Jim,
Thank you.
I made the push. So, and he said there's a wetland, but Joe Bush has to be sitting there too. So we put it on him too. So.
Okay. Anybody else? Michael, anything? No? Nope. Safety's good. All right. All in favor then say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, that's passed. Item 16, school safety sign request. Should be a motion to allow Hudsonville Public Schools to install a school zone speed indicator at 8136 48th and 3835 Baldwin and so on and so forth, as stated in the agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Your depiction, obviously, of
This was another one of those situations where Superintendent Vanderjack pretty much said he's gonna do it. But anyway, so he just came to ask permission in this case, so.
Yep. Okay.
See?
Yep.
I don't think that was necessarily so, but Gary put a lot of pressure and kind of shamed him into paying for it.
Right here.
But
All right, Gary.
You ought to have like a percentage of the amount you save in the township, you know?
Well, I had to get money for $4 million worth of road someplace, so this was 22.5, so I'm sorry.
Good budgeting, Gary. We're lucky to have you.
When I see those, it makes me slow down. Ryan was saying he sees how high you can clock. I don't know if there's some people like that, but yeah.
do high score. We're good. No, they said these were gonna be equipped with the red and blue. They were looking at those ones, so it looks like a cop car actually, so.
Nice.
Good.
Let people know.
All right. Kind of an easy one to vote for too here. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And it passes. Item 17 we've omitted, so we'll move on to item 18. There a motion to approve an agreement with Ottawa County Road Commission for a left turn signal there at 36th and Baldwin.
So moved.
Support.
Okay.
Safety again.
Yeah.
Our safety team.
To be a
Well, this comes about because of the 48th Avenue water line that's coming up. And so we need to start preparing for that because the detour, because 48th Avenue is going to be coming out. So we need to prepare for the detour that's going to be going down 36th Avenue. And so this red light, left turn lane's gotta come in, so we are partnering with them to put that light in there to get ready for the shutdown of 48th Avenue and the water line that's coming in 2025.
When will this happen?
Probably next year or so,
Okay.
because we won't do the water line yet this year. We'll probably get
Not till
prepared
25.
2025.
Okay.
Here, maybe.
Late this year, okay.
So we're paying 28%. Did they say how they come to that allocation? Is that just that allocation? Or, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, they're picking up the lion's share of it. All right, any other comments on the left turn signal? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And it is approved. Item 19, this is a sidewalk waiver request for 7146 48th Avenue, came to us out of utilities. Is there a motion to approve this request to waive the sidewalk?
So moved.
Support.
Does someone from utilities wish to address this for the board?
Go ahead, John, you take one.
I'll take one. Members of the church came to our committee and they explained how it would. Gary does this so much that I pretty much just rely on him. They were concerned about the fact that 48th Avenue would be made wider in the future. How long would this be before it had to be adjusted? There's also, along with this, trees were going to be planted, and the trees would probably have to be removed in the future. And then along the cul-de-sac to the side, there was a requirement of a sidewalk that there are no other sidewalks in that area. And it just made sense not to require them to do that at this time, especially with the construction inevitably happening on 48th Avenue.
Are you saying they were proposing to put it in a place that would have been inside the road right away, so that if expanded, it would have
been a problem.
Or it was removed, they didn't put it outside of, or propose it outside of that 66 foot? Do you know?
No.
Okay.
Kevin had not, didn't pick up on that.
They
Gary, do you have anything with that?
So the plan, and we're still working with engineering, since we got to take out 48th Avenue, we might be looking at just widening it to a bike path on one side.
Right.
So then it's like, why put the sidewalk in and not have it go nowhere?
See, that's why I'm for it, is I want us to put a path on 48th akin to what we've done on, Anawa or places like that. I think that's one where we're going to end up just putting it in, I hope.
Right. Well, we're working on that, but I got to get the easements. We got to, I got Joe. Joe's got 100 things going right now to get this thing going, and Joe, and this is on Joe's radar. I talked to Joe, DPW, and he's like, "Yep, I get what you want to do," but that's the reason why with the sidewalk at 48th Avenue, it's really advantageous if we got to rip the thing out. So
this would be one that's not to nowhere because it's going to go somewhere.
Yep.
But why have
the one in the cul-de-sac?
It's a temporary waiver at this point.
It is.
And even in that conversation that we had with them, we expressed our intent that eventually there will be a path of some sort or a sidewalk of some sort down there. That there's no point in putting it in because who knows how long that will take. That concrete ages differently. So that's why I just do it all at once. But it was said in there that it was a temporary.
Yeah, especially like you mentioned, concrete, it'll likely be asphalt, it'll be wider, right? All that.
Right.
Sometimes we give people waivers and intend to come back as that road develops. This is one where the eventuality is it'll be, I would think, the township paying for the path because it will be such a main artery at the edge of the township that, right? I think in the future that it will justify the township's investment.
Then we just got to get Allendale to.
What's that?
Then we got to get Allendale to finish it all the way to the college. Then.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
Yeah, not far-fetched. Okay. Any other comments? All right, hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, we're on to item number 20 here. Carpeting and flooring purchase. I think I see a little swatch back there by you, Rob. We've been talking about this. Is there a motion to contract with River City Flooring as the low bidder for the amount of $106,313 to install carpet and flooring throughout the office complex here?
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Floor is open.
Been what, 26 years since this carpet? Lovely.
With patches.
With pat, yeah.
Went
That's not part of the
through a flood,
design.
too.
Yeah.
Went through a flood as well.
I have tripped on that stuff before too, because it's unraveling, you know, it's caught in your heels. So, yeah.
The sprinklers the system kicked on. We had severe flooding, and the carpet was not replaced.
How long ago was that?
I'm guessing 2013, 14. That's what I'm thinking. And as we were talking about this, and Justin says, "Look at the carpet below your feet here in our room, and it's really bad shape, and even right here." So, with the flooding, the age of it, it needs to be replaced.
And I assume we buy extra swatches, right? Because these are the kind you can pull out a piece. Yes? No?
They're talking not to piece it, right?
Squares.
Oh, not, okay, not squares.
They're recommending against those,
Okay.
so,
Picking the colors.
not me.
I thought you were like the guy who's into like laundry and things snatching and doing that.
Laundry's not picking out colors.
Shag
The
is
colors go
coming back.
Yeah, I'm worriing.
Sculptured shag, something really cool.
Sure, it's not cutting green or something.
Same company that put this in is also the low bid, or the bid we went with. That their quality seems excellent.
26 years.
Any other comments? All right, all in favor of replacing the carpet, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. 21 HVAC controls in the township building here. Is there a motion to contract with Grand Valley Automation and with Plume for those HVAC controls?
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Comments, anybody from utilities again, perhaps John or Ryan?
Last year when we had air conditioning problems, they had a terrible time here in the central offices because the system is so dated, they were not able to get it to synchronize with the library. And it was a nightmare for them, and they did kind of a patch job on it to make it work. So this is something that, it's a system that's old, it's one that needs to be replaced, it needs to be updated. Gary, can you help me?
Yeah, them units sound terrible. I listened to them last summer. I was spraying that spray they made this summer. Especially these two right here.
Justin, you want to give some background? Because you've had the pleasure of dealing with the system and the vendors and looking for other options, and there's just no other option, correct?
Yeah, I tried 2 different vendors trying to get different viewpoints. You know, all of them said the same thing. You need to update the system. It's time. When we built the library, it was an option. We merged the 2 systems together at that time. Cost-saving tool. They cut it out of the budget. And now we kick the can. Now we have to get it there.
All right. What else? That'll be. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 22, second public comment period. For those who are here yet from the public, if you'd like to stand forward here and address the board, you're welcome to do that. Could be on something we talked about tonight, could be on something entirely different. Yes, sir.
7644 28th Avenue. I sent you an email, all of you, except for Mike. I couldn't get his email address, about what the employees of the township did with the gator. And the reason why they caught my attention was because I was in my garage looking up my tailgate, and all of a sudden I hear something squeal in the back. They're on the sidewalk, okay? Then they proceed to go across to 28th Avenue, head south on 28th. Then they proceed to, had to stop at the light at Baldwin. When the light turned green, then they got up on the sidewalk and they went at the speed close to what the vehicles on 28th Avenue were. I hate to tell you this, but if they would have hit someone, that would have been somebody's problem. It would have been the townships. You, on the other hand, made this comment. I'm already intending to look into this on Tuesday, which I hope you did.
I did.
When the office reopens after having read your comments online, but I will say my perception of you is that you consider a critic of the township. I only was up here 2 times before this, and I did bring up you and John about your previous adventures. Never been totally critic. If it's to mention there's some safety out there to save someone's life, because I had, as I'm blowing my sidewalk from the grass leaves, I had elderly gentlemen on a bicycle hit me, and that hurt like hell. Sorry, the French. But that's exactly why it was. You making this comment, I don't know. Jim, I hope you don't run again this coming year. All right?
Thank you. Anyone else?
I know most of you. My name is Matt. I live in the area of the Rosewood neighborhood that you guys were talking about the speed issue. And on behalf of this group here who's joined me, we've formed the Rosewood Safe Speed Neighborhood Coalition. And we'd just like to say thank you for all of your support, to everybody who's helped us support getting this issue in front of Representative Slaw and Senator Victory, as well as Michigan State Police, the leadership there, the Ottawa County Road Commission, and everybody who's helping us to address this issue. A speed limit of 55 miles an hour in a residential subdivision that's only a couple of years old, that we all moved into with a speed limit of 25, obviously needs to be 25 again. So we appreciate your support. We'll continue to be here and be present as we work through this process. It sounds like we may have a meeting with Michigan State Police here on February 15th. We're looking forward to that. If we're not able to resolve this prior to that by working directly with them through our your colleagues in state government. So thank you again for your support, and on behalf of all the neighbors, we're grateful that you guys will help us through this process.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And let us know if something we can do to be supportive, or if you need a representative at a meeting or what. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, we'll close the second public comment period. Item 23, discussion and general information. I had one item, but got one on the tip of the tongue. Jump ahead of me here.
I just had one thing. I know that we got an email from Joe McCarter on the Campbell Power Plant, and I have to be honest with you. I think Joe might be onto something there as far as getting rid of all these power plants and thinking that solar is going to be our savior. Minnesota is going through this right now. In fact, they're going to sue a couple companies because they're closing all their power plants there too for the same reason, to go to solar and wind. And I just think that the Campbell Power Plant supplies power to 1 million residents. They're already trying to close down the one in Grand Haven, Holland, and I think we're shooting ourselves in the foot, not getting behind some of this stuff. You're talking to a guy who actually has an off-grid cabin run on solar. I can tell you right now, we're all going to freeze to death. So, just to let you know.
I know that they're saying that they're turning to natural gas and not necessarily wind and solar, but it's still both. It's a both and to me. You ought to have a coal-fired plant like this. Now, did you say there's a lawsuit that was just filed within the last couple of weeks?
So Wolverine Power, I think, is suing Grand Haven right now. Is it Grand Haven or Holland, one of the two, to keep theirs open?
Yeah.
So
people are watching that,
but if you don't get in the front of this thing, if nobody says anything, they just assume we're all on board.
Right.
And I don't think people realize what you're getting into when it comes to solar and windmills. You need a storage. Coal provides power 24/7. Solar only works as long as you can take that power and put it into a battery system. And that battery system is not an exact science. You cannot charge those batteries when it's below 32 degrees. I have those batteries. I know how it works. That's why all the Teslas are dead in Chicago over the holidays, because it got below 32. They won't charge. They found that out. So I just caution everybody that we do not live in an area that's going to be really good for solar. We're too far above. We're at the 38th parallel, a little bit north, and that's not going to work. You know, just giving you a heads up. So it's kind of a see I told you so about 5 years ago when this is all gone, because you're all going to die from frostbite. It's going to be terrible. So you've been warned.
Yeah, I called their county commissioner.
Oh yeah,
one of them, about this and to see what are you doing. Apparently they've let their opinion be heard, as far as a majority opinion that way. And I said, let us know if there's something as a township.
Yeah.
Maybe any one of you wishing to contact them as well.
Yeah. I'm just putting it out there so that it's kind of in your radar, because it's not something that really pays attention. You just put the light switch on and off, and you think it all works, and all of a sudden you're like, what the world just happened? We're having brownouts in the wintertime, and that's not going to be good.
China still builds one per week.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they just push them through. So, just my comment. I just think something we got to keep on our radar.
I want to make a comment. I think it was the city of Sparta here recently. An older woman that I know in her late 80s was honored out there by their historical society. They pick 5 notables. They call them notables each year. And even if, even for those maybe that passed away, sometimes they'll identify people after death, but they will have a ceremony through their historical society, not necessarily at, the historical society meeting center, but at some place within the township, and they will recognize that member of the community for long-term contribution in some way, shape, or form, right? I know our chamber does something to that effect each year, right? And sometimes they'll call one of us, right? And they seem to be scrambling at times for names. But I'm sure there are notables, right, out there. And when you can think posthumously, you probably come up with some, that you'd want to honor. But I mentioned that in here, and maybe food for thought more for Becky than any of us, because I think they would the Historical Society consider those who either are currently living that have made a difference, or those that have gone before that have made such a big difference. And it ends up being not just an honor to them or their family, but also a good way to talk about history. Yeah. Anyway.
Good idea.
Anyone else?
I have one thing, because this is the first time we've seen each other since the holidays, and that is at that Christmas tree lighting, my kids wrote letters to Santa and put them in the mailbox, and Santa wrote them back. And that sounds like such a little thing, but that was a huge thing for my kids. And it wasn't, all 3 of my kids wrote to Santa, and all 3 of my kids got back different letters from Santa. And I know the elves that do a lot of work for Santa behind the scenes are really busy that time of year. But I just kind of want to give a shout out to Rob Bristow, is amazing, of course, and Kaylin, the youth services librarian. But I actually think that it was Jill, who was on their staff, who spearheaded a lot of the collection of letters to Santa and things like that at that event. But some of those amazing things that happen in our community, very behind the scenes, that wouldn't be on your radar unless you had a little kid who wrote a letter to Santa. I want to make sure that we as grown-ups know how magical and amazing some of our staff members are. So shout out to our library staff, because I love them, and that was a really special moment, our Christmas season this year.
We're doing shout out to our Georgetown deputies too, who go teach 8th graders about our 4th Amendment, search and seizure, and they educate, and I think that that's awesome that they go into schools, Jenison schools, and help teach the 8th graders. So kudos for all of that, everything else that you guys do.
Definitely. Anybody else?
I just wondered if there was an update on the damage to Allen Springs. I saw that the bill came through to repair the fire engine from the run-in.
We have bills for the trucks, no bills for the building yet, but in the end, it'll be a $10,000 deductible for us.
We're gonna ride it through our insurance. Our insurance agent say what this is gonna do to our insurance.
No.
Okay.
They did say, though, with our meeting a few weeks ago, that we've done a great job, but sometimes when you have no claims, it raises red flags. So maybe this will make them happy, but.
Raises red flags when you have no claims?
Yes, especially in the workers' comp side.
What do they think you're doing?
When you're doing things are
Not reporting
right.
things, not reporting things on the work comp side. So in the scope of things, this is minor. It's not good, but it's minor. So very unfortunate.
And also I've heard from 2 people now that the E-Unit program is ending in September.
That's incorrect.
But it's not.
It's not.
Good. Because I was starting to freak out.
Yeah.
There's lots of rumors going around. That is not the case. There's some talk in Park and Holland Townships, but we just had meetings with the sheriff a week ago, and ours is not ending. So.
Good news.
All set?
Yep.
Anyone else? All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you.